Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So April 23rd is National Lovers Day, and I want to talk about 5 loves of my life that I've had that are not very conventional, but I'm very proud of the love life that I have with all 5 of these. So the first one, you guys probably already know most of the story. I had gotten out of a toxic relationship with a girl when I was working on my PhD, and I was getting ready to go to a coin show when I panicked because I didn't have anyone to go with me, and I almost didn't want to go. I woke up, it's June 13th of 2010, and in Rochester, New York. It was a really sunny day, just like today. You know, they say we can always remember how clear the skies were on 9/11. June 13, 2010 is kind of like a 9/11, personal 9/11 for me, but a positive one. It was one of those days that will live on for the rest of my life. Very sunny day, and I thought, I gotta at least say hello to some people there. And I went there thinking that maybe I'll look for another girl. I got there and I quickly forgot about the idea of looking for another girl because I had such a good time. And I discovered that anything you could do with a girl or a partner, you can do without, right? The only real exception is of having biological children, right? So that's when I began a relationship with myself. I started going out to dinner with myself, going to see a movie, and I actually enjoyed that a whole lot better. And it was more flexible. I didn't have to worry about finding the right time to do it, and I could do all the things I love to do, right? I never had to compromise and go to a restaurant that I didn't like, right? And so that was good. Now, a year and a half later, I was getting ready to graduate with my PhD when I discovered the Computer Olympiad contests that were held every year. And I really wanted to make a name for myself, have the #1 AI for a game, and maybe, because at the time I still believed that I needed a girl. I don't know why. Even after I started going out by myself, at the beginning it was more of a temporary until I find the girl, right? I didn't have the permanent solo sexual mentality that I do these days. And so I wanted to make a name for myself by writing the #1 AI for the game of Othello. I competed in my first Computer Olympiad in 2013. I got 3rd place in Othello, among other things, and I love my computer games just like someone might love their partner, right? I don't have a problem with that. So I like to think of the first Computer Olympiad I went to in 2013 as the day I married my computer games. Now, in 2016, I had gotten into another fight with another girl. She accused me of cheating on her because I was so busy writing computer games that I often was late getting to their home or decided not to go. She was living with her parents, and we argued about it. She accused me of cheating on her, and I kind of was with my computer games, though. I stormed out of her home, and I was so lost in thought. I lived in Seattle. I was so lost in thought, I ended up driving to Ellensburg before I knew it. Again, it was a real clear night, right? And Jupiter, Saturn, the moon were out, and I was viewing that, and I had a great time. And so the dark night skies became kind of like, almost like a girlfriend. I wouldn't say my wife, but my girlfriend for sure. To this day, it still is. Now, in 2020, I made a New Year's resolution to normalize my relationship with food. I had binge eating problems, and the previous year I actually lost a job over binge eating kind of problems. Now, for the last for the better part of the first 2 years of that resolution, I was kind of on a pendulum. For a time, I hated food and I couldn't stand eating, and then I would starve myself, and then I was back to binge eating ways, running into trouble with relationships. Recently, I've seemed to have found a happy medium there, and food has become almost like a partner that I can have a healthy relationship with once again. So it's taken me decades to find a love life with my food, right? I had a love-hate relationship with food. Now it's just love, right? But unfortunately, society often doesn't allow me to have a good relationship with food because it doesn't give me time, right? I talked about this in other videos. And the fifth love life, my most recent one, as you guys know, bismuth. Actually, the reason I discovered bismuth is kind of interesting. I was doing tutoring in chemistry, and one of the students was drawing a pie chart of all the rare elements, and I couldn't believe bismuth was just above gold. And because I knew about bismuth crystals, I never thought about making them because I just assumed that, it's just a common material. And when I discovered how rare it is, I wanted to see how much it would be to buy it in bulk, and then I discovered it's only like $7 a pound. So I bought 10 pounds. I was working at my desk at the time, and I decided I could use 10 pounds of bismuth for weightlifting anyway. And I even showed the student who was doing the pie chart. Remember how we were laughing about how cheap bismuth is and how rare it is? I bought stuff just to lift weights here. And then I discovered how to make crystals, how to pour molds and all that. So bismuth is my new wife. So it would have been August of 2022. I divorced my computer games and married bismuth. Now back in 2019, I was, this is, I really despise loud vehicles because I love recording these videos outdoors. So loud vehicles are like the cheating, the affairs, all the nonsense that could break relationships, right? We'll use that analogy. But in 2019, I had a girlfriend, and her parents wanted us to get married, and I liked her, but I didn't want to break up my solo sexual relationship. And so it was a really confusing time in my life. I even gave that phase of my life a little bit of a nickname at the time. I called it my single life grand finale. At the time, we had just had Cassini grand finale, right? And I wanted to soften the hardship, so I gave it a little bit of a colorful name. I love doing that, by the way. When I have a tough situation, I give it a colorful nickname just so that it can soften the mission of doing it. And so for the first time in my life, I was enjoying both kinds of relationships at the same time. Usually I have to put my solo sexuality aside, but that time I think she was kind of accepting of that too. And then we had to stay 6 feet apart, and during that time both of us really discovered how much we weren't ready to get married, and so that's good. Anyways, love is love, and the unfortunate thing about all of these unorthodox romances, they are really romances, by the way. They're not just something I like to do. They're actual romances. The sad thing about that is that society doesn't often give a shit about it compared to how it gives a shit about human romances, right? Even if they're same sex, right? But, I want to be romantic with my food. Can I have a 2-hour lunch break? That doesn't go very far in our society, right? Or can I leave on time from work today so I can have my romantic computer game writing session or bismuth pouring session? I don't think that flies very well in our society, unfortunately, right? That's sad. This is the Peter Shit Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Shit Show. Bum 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 bum.